Now in our first unit here, as we start studying bones and everything, we're going to be using a lot of these terms. Now yes, I know I've got the same picture there on the right, but we're going to use that here just for talking about these different directions and positions. The first pair that we're going to talk about are the anterior and posterior. In my picture here, anterior is shown by this green arrow and posterior is by this yellow arrow right here. So basically anterior means more to the front of the body and posterior means more to the back. Now the next two pair of terms, superior and inferior, basically the red arrow here, right here, superior, because superior is referring to closer to the head than any other of the body structures, while inferior, the violet arrow down here, means closer to the feet or farther from the head, however you prefer to look at it. Now the next pair of terms, medial and lateral. Medial are these light blue ones here. You know, basically it means they're closer to the median plane. So if you're looking straight up and down here and there's an imaginary line going straight down the middle of the body, those two arrows, that would be medial. These are closer to that midline, whereas these dark green arrows here are lateral. They're more further away from the midline of the body. Now the next two pairs of terms, proximal and distal, are referring to the limbs. Okay, proximal, shown here by this kind of reddish arrow here, means closer to the point of attachment, closer to the body trunk. Okay, while distal, this brown arrow here, referring to further away from that point of attachment to the trunk. So these two terms we're going to use only in conjunction when we're talking about the limbs. Finally, superficial and deep. Superficial means closer to the surface of the body. So like this green arrow right here, this would be an example. This is superficial. So in my example here, the breastbone is superficial to the heart, which would be deep, further away from the surface. Now obviously it should be coming aware to you here that these terms can be used different ways too, because we could also say that the breastbone is more anterior to the heart, or we could say that the heart is more posterior to the rib cage. You know, but basically in those cases here we're going to use the terms superficial and deep. Now while these directions and position terms are very important, we'll be using those quite a bit. When we look at microscopes, we're going to be using different terms, you know, referring to body planes and sections.